Hello, hello, beautiful souls of this community. Happy holidays and welcome to today's live. My name is Lori Voss, and I'm here today to share with you one of my best sweet tips on how to get through the holiday season or Christmas, winter gatherings, holiday gatherings if you are vegan or whole food plant-based, because it's challenging. Let's be honest. Let's be real here. It's not an easy task if you are potentially the only one in your family that doesn't eat meat or doesn't consume animal products, and you have to go to Christmas dinners or holiday dinners and different gatherings. One thing that I love to do, and this helps me get by so much. I adopted this quite a few years ago because I really have a sweet tooth and I like eating sweet stuff in general. I like to make healthy desserts. This has been a really big transformation and transition for me. And I take these healthy desserts to the gatherings that I go to and I share them with people. And I'm not a preachy vegan. I don't even really like the label vegan, and I don't really like the label whole food plant-based because I'm not totally strict with either of those. Sometimes I will consume eggs or dairy, and sometimes I consume oil, for example, or flours, which would take out both of those groups, right? Um, Before I go on, if you're watching this live, just type in hashtag live. And if you're watching this on a replay, please type in hashtag replay. It lets other people know that I'm here and sharing some information. So, back to the story. Yeah, I don't really like the label so much, but it helps people understand a little bit more where we might be coming from. So I'm not the preachy kind of like nutrition type person or vegan person where it's like you have to do this, all that stuff. I don't like that. I don't like people preaching and telling me what to do, and I avoid doing that for others. But if you are a person who is not consuming animal products, basically, one of my best tips is making your own homemade desserts and modifying the dessert. So even if you find a recipe that calls for eggs, there's really easy egg substitutes like chia seeds with water mixed up. And again, just searching on the internet, I think it's like 1 tablespoon ground chia seeds with 3 tablespoons water. That equals 1 egg. And I think it's the same ratio if you use flax seeds as well. And flax seeds, you would ground them up first as well. If you can do that, that's helping them to absorb the water. But don't quote me 100% on the flaxseed one. I think they're both the same, but just double check on the internet. There's so many substitutes for these kinds of things. And in terms of even oil, like I do consume healthy oils, but I don't want to put in like all kinds of coconut oil in every cooking dish that I make. So I'll even substitute that, even though that is technically vegan. I put in applesauce. So there's always like healthy little tricks that I add in there. And I always lessen the amount of sugar that I'm adding into any recipe than what it calls for, especially if you're putting in applesauce. Applesauce is naturally sweet. I recommend making your own applesauce. All you need to do is steam the apples and then blend them up. Peel them and core them first would be best. And you don't need to add any sugar. So you have like a natural, that's a nice oil substitute. I also read that can be an egg substitute. I don't use it generally for an egg substitute. I feel like it's not such a good binder, but it's better for oil. And yeah, basically when you make your own healthy desserts, for me, I feel like I know this is healthy. I mean, healthy. It still has sugar, it still is baked, it still doesn't necessarily fall into all the alignment pieces for TCM life force nutrition that I teach and practice. But we're only human. We have to have a little bit of leeway and allow ourselves to have treats and have good food. And I would rather eat the stuff that comes out of my kitchen that I know has no animal products and that I know has healthier ingredients than some of the other stuff, even though I know it tastes good sometimes at the table. I don't want that in my body anymore. I don't want that energy of those animals in me. So if this is resonating with you, definitely give me a like, thumbs up. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel so it helps you get notifications that I'm here, and helps all of it, other people to find me as well. I just finished baking. I wanted to actually, I probably still have even molasses or chocolate on my hands. I just finished making a round of, they're called Pfeffernuss cookies, and they're like kind of like ginger snaps. It's a German name for the cookies, but they translate to pepper nut. Doesn't really have such a thing, but it's like a spicy, almost like a ginger snap cookie. So I made like a whole pile of these little cookies. Has a lot of molasses in here, and I followed a recipe from my family cookbook. Oh, it's right here. Uh, from a family cookbook that I got a couple years ago from one of my aunts. She was like, "You can have this. I never use it anymore." And I was like, "Okay." And at first I was like, all the recipes. They all have eggs or meat or dairy and all these things." So I was kind of just like put it on the side. Didn't really think much about it. And then last winter, actually last Christmas, I was like, I'm going to see if I can find a good cookie recipe. And I found this one that I made now and just talked about. And I just had to alter or substitute some of the different ingredients. So I really, from years ago, starting this transition in my life, have made already a title for myself, calling myself the substitute queen in the kitchen, because I'm constantly substituting different ingredients. Like, for example, this recipe in here that I followed, it it calls for lard. Like, no, thanks. Also buttermilk, stuff like this. So there's like di- all kinds of things that you can tweak and change in your kitchen so it can be vegan and, like I say, healthier. And this recipe, it says on the bottom that it comes from the lady who submitted it, her mother's 1925 cookbook. So you can imagine even like the measurements on there are a little bit off and things, but it's kind of fun because I feel like, wow, this is a really old recipe and I'm playing around with it. I admit last year my cookies were not as flat. They were much rounder and plump, but the taste is delicious. My husband came around and ate a couple already and he was like, "Oh my God, these are good." And I was like, take the ones that don't look so nice. I'm gonna give these ones away maybe. But anyways, so that's the trick. I'm going to offer these cookies for friends. We're going on a hike tomorrow. I'm going to take some and, just offer around in the group. And if anybody asks, I will say these are vegan. These don't have animal products in it, because there is other people that don't consume animal products as well. So I want to be clear that if that is a concern or that's a reality, some people have dairy allergies, different things like that. I want to be clear that this doesn't product doesn't have animals in it. And that's a really good way to start like changing people's minds without being preachy, because pretty much everybody likes a sweet treat, right? Most people. And then when they taste something, they're like, "Oh, this tastes really good. And it doesn't have, dairy or eggs or butter." I use vegan butter, for example, in this recipe instead of the lard, and not margarine. It's a different type of butter as well. I don't recommend margarine. It has quite a few crappy ingredients. So yeah, always checking the ingredient list as well if you are buying something that is already processed or made like a vegan butter. And yeah, so that's my best tip. Making some of your own homemade ingredients, homemade sweet desserts that you can offer to other people. And when you offer them, can just be like, "Yeah, this is, like gingerbread cookies that are vegan, or vegan gingerbread cookies. There you go." And they're, "Oh, okay." I also have right now in the oven making a black bean brownie. So it's completely flourless. And the recipe calls for eggs, but I use the chia seed egg mixture that I mentioned earlier. And it also called, I felt like, for quite a bit of coconut oil. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to put coconut oil in. I put in the applesauce that I had taken out for some of these cookies and another recipe that I made as well the other day. So I like to kind of like, when I'm in the kitchen, especially this time of year, do like batch baking and do everything. And it's like, it's so good because I feel like I'm not causing any harm. The things that I do are in alignment with my values in terms of nonviolence. I don't need to worry about any animal products of in my life or being consumed. Everything is really into my standards in that way. And it's a healthy treat. And the black bean brownie, I'm really looking forward to that. I'll take a picture of it when it gets out of the oven. I wanted to do this live a while ago, but I had to be careful because I had every 12 minutes or so a batch of cookies coming out. And I was like, I don't want to have the timer go off when I'm in the middle of sharing. So the brownies take a little bit longer. And it's basically, even the recipe, she calls for like, I don't know what's the quantity, but like tinned black beans. I have dry black beans. I soak them overnight, rinse them in the morning, and I actually just steamed them. And this was yesterday already. I started the preparation for it, put them in the fridge, and today I had actually amazingly exact amount of what was called for the recipe. So yes, and I've made black bean chocolate desserts before. I've made them into like little balls and things, and I've served them, and I've said, this is vegan, and I've had some reactions for people that are like, "Oh, what, like black beans?" And I'm like, just taste it, just try. If you don't like it, it's okay, no offense. But I have never ever seen anybody say they don't like it. It's just sometimes in their brain space, they're like, ah, black beans, how can this be? Or sweet potato brownie, that's another one also that's a good healthier version as well of a brownie. So that's my best tip, a nice sweet tip for you if you want to have healthy treats for yourself, first and foremost. And if you want to bring something to share with others or gift to others, I recommend making a nice healthy vegan dessert so they can understand that there's ways to do things that don't have to have meat on the plate. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to this video. If you have any questions about making healthy desserts or about how to get through the holidays, if you're challenged on the holiday time because you're maybe the only non-meat eater at the table, send me a message. I've been there. I know that it's challenging and you're not alone. So let me know and I'm here to support you. Take care for now and we'll definitely be in touch. Bye for now.